guys, how you doing? Welcome back to another episode of Conversations with Dan and Josh. Privileged to be here. Pleasure to be here. I don't know the right word to use. It starts with a P in there. But it's glad that
so many here. Words start with P's. But anyway,
why?
If you're new here, subscribe. If you've been here, we love you. And of course, due to public demand, public demand.
That's right.
We are bringing back Simon because
you guys loved it.
We cooked the onions, we cooked the tomatoes, but you didn't get the chijuro. Naskia.
Josh must be hungry.
But anyway, to wrap it out, we had Simon to discuss what strategy is not. Because most times we discuss what strategy is. So how we recapped on how strategy can impact your business, how, most importantly, it impacts the bottom line. Because most businesses say, no, we want awareness, we want engagement, but deep down in their hearts, every business wants revenue.
Yes.
So in everything that we are doing, in all the planning that we are doing, the brand whisperer, the strategy whisperer told us how we can generate revenue with that strategy. So as you're doing your plan now, we are having part 2. Tukomeo starter farm in part 2.
Actually, come up from you. Come up from that. But we are for part 2. And we're discussing branding. Branding, not just branding for branding's sake, but how branding adds to your strategy and leads to money. Because at the end of the day, we're here to make money. Exactly. So, Simon.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Thanks, guys.
What have you been up to?
Well, I can say since that episode, I have been obviously doing the typical 8 to 5. You need to work, you need to continue to do your daily. I've been involved in some engagements with creatives from another entity called Agandi Studios, understanding their thinking process in terms of what they do on a day-to-day basis, but also on mental health. Regarding that's something that is now part and parcel of us. Despite the good information, the good insights we got from strategy, but at the same time, it was overshadowed by the loss of one of the most powerful and very, very engaging digital strategists, JB, John, rest in peace. And also other people have been affected. We are hearing of suicides all over. So mental health is something we're taking seriously. So we did something on Agandi. And on top of that also, I had the honor of being appointed a board member. Yes, board member and lead strategist.
You were in the presence of greatness.
Yes, board member and lead strategist for a studio called, an agency called Ayera Creatives.
You find a link in the description, yes?
In the descriptions, yes. So it's been wonderful, and I look forward to coming back. Thanks for bringing me back. I thought maybe next year, but
now you're back.
Yes, and also in line with the theme of branding, I thought, branding is about, and brand is about something you feel. It's about something you experience. So beyond talking about it, I had a surprise for you guys.
Okay.
Yes, I brought some goodies for you today.
Okay.
Yes, so
please learn from this.
So I got you something, Daniel.
Instead of rewarding guests, guests are rewarding us.
So this is your army uniform now. So beyond the studio.
The huddle
has been updated.
Yes, but there are 2 of you, so I couldn't only bring one. I also brought for you, Mr. Josh.
Danny, yes, they knew. Darkness and light. Come on.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yes, so this is for you, Josh.
Thank you, man.
That's right.
Yes.
Sip the dream. Hi there. Hi, bro.
Yeah. So you may ask why the colors. I chose dark for you, Daniel, not because of skin tone, but
I'm on the dark side.
Not on the dark side, but darkness as in going in depth, going into the unknown to unpack topics and conversations, going deep. And then Josh, I chose white because of the light-hearted, the energy, the illumination. Like, click, subscribe.
So if you have not liked or something, let's do the like.
This is good.
So I think we are ready to unpack
We can jump into this. We're gonna jump into this.
Yes.
All right, as Joshua said, like, subscribe. Right, 1 second for you to do it. Okay, into today's topic. So, Simon,
Yes.
we're talking branding. Okay, branding and how it adds to strategy, which
Yes.
in the long term leads to ka-ching-ching, the monies.
Yes.
So, how does strong branding or like a strong brand strategy put more money in the pockets of a company?
Okay. Now, before we even go into how these connect, it's important to even understand what a brand and branding is. Okay? Now, a brand typically people think is the logo and the icon and the colors, what they see.
Yes.
You know, but it's beyond the logo. A brand is something that what the audience, what the customer perceives, thinks, the associations, the beliefs regarding your brand and the identity they have in their mind, and it can come from their experiences with your brand as well. Then branding, as we know, it is that continuous, ongoing process of building, coming up with activities, protocols, programs, projects, and strategies to ensure that your brand stands out compared to
The competition.
Or the market.
Yes, compared to the competition. It gives you differentiation, and in the long run, how does it translate to money? Now, a strong brand definitely gives customers preferential treatment to you. That I prefer brand A compared to brand B, meaning that a strong brand will definitely give you customer preference, which points to a higher market share.
Yeah.
So more customers will come to that organization compared to other brands.
Yes.
So when it comes to the financial performance in the long run, definitely you are earning more money compared to an alternative.
Yeah.
Let me give an example. I'm an Arsenal fan, but I'm not going to talk about Arsenal. We are going to talk about Manchester United.
Okay.
Okay? Manchester United is a football club.
Yeah.
But in the hearts and minds of a typical Manchester United fan, Manchester stands for winning. That is the belief.
Okay.
That is the thinking. And Manchester United created that by first and foremost having a track record of winning. In the early 80s, they struggled. They didn't win anything. But in the 90s, they began winning Premier League after Premier League after Premier League. So they were winning the hearts and minds of their customers. But now, what set them a level above other English teams was what happened in 1999 when they won a treble. So in the hearts of minds, that separated Manchester from all other clubs. That was the differentiation. All clubs were winning cups, but Manchester won a treble. That even put them on the global map, meaning they got more supporters, more brand sponsorships. Their players became overnight celebrities. People were buying their merchandise. So you already see that Manchester's valuation went up, their earnings went up, their shareholding improved, that even they were bought and went private. But that journey of a strong brand translated into money for them because of customer preference. And there are people since then who support Manchester because of that. Okay, I'm using that as an example of an organization that set itself differently from others. Okay, now that is just on customer preference. What a strong brand does for you as well is it gives you the ability to command a price premium. What does this mean? That in an industry you'll have multiple players, and they are all selling their products at different prices. You say, I'll sell maybe this at $100, $100. But a brand that is strongly differentiated and has been accepted and has been endorsed by the customer base as this is the brand of choice. It makes price not an issue because of the experience
And the attachment.
and a price premium. So let me give you an example. You have Toyota. Now I'm talking about Toyota in the early 90s and 80s and 2000s. Toyota is a unique brand and they were known for affordable cars. But in the hearts and minds of customers, they look at Benz. Both are in the automobile industry, but they look at Benz as being a premium brand. They both serve the same purpose. Toyota, Nissan, Ford, Subaru, all these things. But what makes Benz have higher prices for their cars was how they position the brand. They position the brand not only with those extra features in the car, safety features, automated lights, even the lights had wipers, introducing the concept of the round eyes, several technological breakthroughs, but they set up as an aspirational brand. Now, let me give you an example, and I'll ask you, Josh and Daniel, have any of you bought a Mercedes-Benz yet?
Not yet.
Not
the
yet.
keyword is yet.
Yes, but when was the first time Benz advertised to you?
Same bully.
Me as like a kid,
Same bully.
child.
Did you have that?
Yeah,
That
of
guy
course.
with
Same
that
TV.
TV with an ass.
Yes, now you see that strategy that Benz established, much as they were advertising to people who could afford them, but as a child you aspired to own
Yes.
a Benz. Meaning that by the time Benz says, okay, now you have achieved the economic ability to buy a Benz at this price, you are willing to pay for it at that price because Benz has been influencing you
From a very long
time.
Yes.
Now imagine what has Benz been doing to the person who has actually purchased it. That is the power of brand, price premium. Meaning that I will set my price high and still people will
So come and buy.
compared to other brands. And for someone in the finance department, the CFO, the accountants, the treasury, this is a blessing. Whenever prices are up, because typically finance looks at my cost, my selling, and what I get as profit. So in terms of financial performance, a higher price premium brings you a lot of money.
Yes.
Typically, finance believes in increasing price. Okay, typically, that's not to say that they don't allow price reductions. So that enables you to even have money in the long term. Now, let's not forget our customers. The third point. When you look at customer behavior, a strong brand also improves the retention of your brand. We remember in Strategy 101 in the other episode that it is easier to retain than to acquire.
Yes.
And then the hardest is it's harder to get those who have left to come back.
Yes.
But once you have a strong brand, and there is no such thing as a perfect brand, let's be honest. It means that
some leave,
some go, even if the brand overall has healthy scores. But to retain is very easy when your brand
is strong.
Is strong, meaning that despite some flaws, despite some challenges you face, but the person who has that brand in their mind, because you have connected on an emotional and mental basis, will say, okay, once in a while there are issues, but I'm sticking
to
this brand.
This brand.
Yes.
It means that the organization is guaranteed repeat business. So imagine you retain repeat business, and also on top of that, in their strategy, even when they increase prices, you're still going to stay.
Yes.
And also, when you have a strong retained base, these people can endorse your brand. We know that the best form of advertising or to communicate a proposition to the market is when the retained customers promote positively, word of mouth. They recommend your brand. So that retained base is guaranteed business. You can even project your business for many years from retained customers because of the power of the brand.
So it makes sense why when you have a strong brand, it's actually easier to look at the lifetime
value.
Yes. Because at least you can predict how long.
Let's give an example. People say, okay, how is lifetime value? What is lifetime value? Let's assume that in a year, let's give an example. Netflix charges a package of around $12. Okay, around $12.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And you're a consistent Netflix customer. It means that in a period of 12 months, that you're giving them $144.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, if Netflix has observed that my account is active for the last 5 years, that means I have been giving them close to around $780, something close to $700 in the last 5 years. And they observe that I'm even promoting Netflix. I'm a user. I even take part in their surveys. I do recommendations, but I'm consistent. Netflix can comfortably say that if Simon spent 5 years with us, we can comfortably say that if price stays constant, that for the next 10 years, Simon is going to bring us $1,440.
Yes.
So for a CFO, for the strategist in Netflix justifying to the board the need to invest in maybe better streaming equipment, better hosting servers,
Yes.
to even invest in more content. Because lately they have been investing in very nice cinema quality type movies.
Yes.
The board will buy into that decision financially because they have seen that my lifetime value for at least the next 10 years is $1,440. Then multiply that by people similar to me. That multiplier effect.
Yes.
That even when they have observed that, okay, Simon had his account, when he joined in 2019, we were charging $10. He stayed. 10 moved to 12. He has still stayed. They can comfortably even increase the price that it will not end up as 1,440. It can even become 2,000.
Yes.
But I am loyal because Netflix differentiated
Itself from.
but that's the same compared to other brands. There is a brand I won't mention in Uganda that has consistently increased prices, and what is happening to the customer feedback?
They're running out.
No helpline, no support,
Yes.
the price is up.
People just migrate.
People are moving.
People are moving, and you ask yourself why? Okay, why? So those are the benefits of a strong brand translating into financial performance. But you notice we've not yet even talked about strategy yet.
Yes.
But we are just connecting branding and finance.
And finance.
Then the other fourth point why strong branding helps you with your financial performance is one, you have strong investor relationships. The investors who have put their money into your organization know that I've put my money in an entity that is going to bring me money because they have proven time and again. Remember, yes, that not only are you in the hearts and minds of the customers, but you're in the hearts and minds of the investors.
Yes.
You've touched the heart and the wallet as well. So year in, year out, when your brand keeps publishing the performance reports, they look at the balance sheet, they look at the income statement, they look at the cash flows, and they realize that this brand has continued to bring us a return on investment. We even see the subscriber base has stayed constant.
Constant or has grown.
Has even grown. We are even seeing that even when we raised price, they still stayed. And now they are presenting to us the board to justify addition, to innovate or to justify additional investment. The investor is not going to think twice. He is going to put more money. That is someone who maybe is lending as, let's say, a private investor. But the banks also, the banks actually will come to that brand saying, we want to partner
with you. Yes.
We want to finance with you. We want to give you money, and we are actually willing to give you favorable interest rates.
Yeah.
Because they are guaranteed a return. Whether they lower the interest rate or not, there is no risk. The numbers are looking well in the financial statement. So they will be guaranteed a favorable return. Then also shareholders, these are the ones who own shares. Sometimes, usually during some financial cycles, there are times the company may pay dividends or not.
Yes.
They may decide to say, okay, all profits, take them back in. Or give out. Sometimes the shareholder may say, no, don't pay me. Recirculate it back. Because you multiplied my earning. I put in $10, I got back 5. You know what? Let me put this 15 back. There is a high chance 15 becomes 20. So strong investor relations, but also strong brands. In terms of not only investor relationships, but also let's look at the impact of strong brands. Now this is at top scale.
Yes.
Large organizations. Large organizations that now even impact the GDP of a country. Strong brands actually attract strong regulatory and government relations. That even at times when these brands are struggling, government is even willing
To move.
to put money in
Or policies.
or
Great policies that are favorable.
because they know that if this brand collapses, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
The concern for a brand is similar to the concern for a loved one. When a loved one is not well, you all rush to do. Because brands have accomplished that strong position in your mind.
Yes.
Okay? So now, the other time we spoke about strategy in general. What was strategy? The decisions and actions to achieve an objective with long-term benefit while meeting stakeholder concerns in a high degree of uncertainty.
Yes.
Okay. Now, financial strategy, because there is an impact on finance. Financial strategy is a set of actions, decisions to improve the financial position of an organization in the long term while meeting all stakeholder needs in terms of cost, but also managing the ability to finance daily operations and cash flows in the long run to drive profitability. Then what is branding strategy? Branding strategy is the set of actions and decisions to achieve a strong position in the hearts and minds of the target customer and consumer with the aim of driving strong competitive advantage that differentiates you from other brands. Then you have to combine all this together. These strategies, when you triangulate them, have to be collaborated because in a typical organization, finance has the specialists.
Yes.
The marketing team has the specialists. So the brand strategist, financial strategists, and even the HR and all these other elements have to work together. Now, going back to what we mentioned at the beginning, people think a brand is just what they see, but a brand is what they feel when they interact with the organization. So the strategies are not only about what is communicated, but what is experienced. So even when I walk into a shop, how I am looked after, how I am treated.
It's part of branding.
It's part of branding.
And I like to throw a spanner in the works.
Yes.
How I'm hired.
How is in my town?
How I'm hired.
Thank you.
Because some companies,
The process can cause pain.
you are like, I'm not coming here.
Thank you. Thank you. Actually, branding, a strong brand, enables you to hire the best talent in the industry. This is especially happening in companies that have invested in AI. Elon Musk is struggling to retain his AI specialists at Tesla because they are being poached by the likes of Google, the likes of Microsoft. Microsoft is also struggling, but they have accomplished to get resources who are AI experts because that is the future.
Yes.
But most times, these AI scientists are most likely to go to one of these companies whose brand has touched them in the heart.
In the heart.
Yeah, so you attract talent, and the best talent will enable you achieve your strategy in the long term as well. So, in a nutshell, that's how a brand can benefit the financial health of an organization.
That's great. We have talked brand,
Yeah.
but now there's this very common phrase called brand awareness.
Oh, okay.
Brand awareness. Does brand awareness lead to financial gain? Like, is it just a fancy term we throw around, like make it pop, or is there actual matter to brand awareness?
Okay. The way I would say it is that brand awareness is the starting point. It's the start. It's not where you. It's actually where you begin. Actually, if that's where you end, what if the awareness is negative?
That's a valid point right there. What if it's negative?
What if it's negative? How is it going to reflect the scores?
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
You're going to communicate.
And people react
People are
a
going
certain
to,
way.
yes, people react certain way. Many times organizations have run campaigns whereby they promote a product online.
Yeah.
But the feedback is on something totally else. But you continue to promote the product. You're saying buy this at X amount, get maybe 50% bonus. But the comments are, your deliveries have delayed. Your fulfillment is not coming through. I've been calling your helpline, no one is responding at all.
And the issue with awareness, all that is captured as awareness.
Awareness, good or bad.
Good or bad, yes. So when you talk about awareness and financial performance, remember strategy 101, what we discussed the other time, that companies are no longer advertising, which is just their awareness. They are telling a story. Now let's unpack this story step by step, and we see how from building brand awareness it translates to financial performance.
Yes.
And what are the financial people looking at, and what is the strategist looking at? Now let's unpack this. You have a target as an organization to meet a business objective. You have a target. So you have done your research. You've established the size of the market. You've established there's a potential. Your objective is to grow your subscriber base from, let's use some numbers, from 1 million to 2 million. Meaning that you have to bring an additional 1 million customers maybe in a period of 3 years. That's the strategy. Okay? You've already set up your objectives, your financial objectives, that subscriber base moves from 1 million to 2 million. Revenue is going to move from 20 million to maybe 50 million in that period. Let's use dollars just for example as well. You're going to have a retention of X amount. Maybe you want to improve retention.
Okay.
Now, what is the brand strategist's job? And also, what is the marketing strategist's job? One, you are going to communicate. You're going to engage these customers. The first level is awareness. But as a strategist, you need to understand what they call the customer journey. First, make them aware.
Of who you are.
They have seen the advert. They know, okay, brand A has communicated.
Yes.
But there's also brand B, C, and D
Communicate.
That also
communicate. They are also aware.
Yes.
Okay? They are also aware. The next step in the customer journey is what they call consideration. I have had your advert. Let me give you a very good example. Ugandans love to go for rugby. I have gone to the rugby club. There is a rugby game. And all these brands even have tents. I see the beer tent for one company, the beer tent for the other. Okay, let's even use it. I use the brewery tent and the Nile brewery tent. I am aware both are there. But what is consideration? Consideration is what makes me move
To the other one.
before I've not yet purchased, but what makes me move
To that.
that tent instead of that. That is what they call consideration. You've been presented with all this information. What makes me do consideration?
Yes.
Now, consideration, and from consideration, then the next level is purchase. What will now make me purchase? Consideration is when even someone goes shopping. Like ladies are good at consideration. They walk the entire mall, the entire floor, looking at, can even walk out of that mall, go to another mall before they come back. That is consideration. You're choosing why this over that, why that. You're evaluating options, why this over that. Okay. Now, after consideration is purchase, I have actually
Decided to buy this.
I've actually now chosen to purchase this brand.
Yes.
Now, after that, that is stage 3 of purchase. Stage 4 is retention and usage. I am now using your product. I am now using your service continuously. I am now experiencing the usage of the product. Is it actually meeting the functional need
That you communicated.
that you communicated?
Yes.
Is it meeting the extra needs? Like, for example, is the warranty actually there? I'm now in the Nile Brewery's beer tent. Is the beer actually, beering? That's a good one. Yes. That's example. I am now using Netflix. Are they actually giving me the content?
Does it not buffer?
Are they promising me, the new series and all those things? Then the 5th stage is what they call advocacy. Whereby, after retention, advocacy is whereby the experience I've had with your brand, either I am promoting you
Or the campaign.
or I'm decampaigning you. So those are 5 stages, and each of those stages, by the way, is measured. So let's say that you ran a campaign. I reached 1 million. Of these, only 100,000 considered. That is 100,000 over 1 million. That's a 10% consideration. Measure that. It's important when you buy that you're going to justify finance. Now, from 100,000, that is consideration to purchase. Maybe only, let's say, 5% to purchase. So 5% of 100,000 is 2,000. Only 2,000 bought the service. Okay? Now, those 2,000 now move to retention. Within a period of 1 year, are the 2,000 still 2,000 or is 2,000 down to 1,000? It means you retained 50.
50% of that.
50% retained. Then, of the 1,000 who stayed, how many now said, we would like your service?
How many now advocate for you?
Advocate for you. Because now they are even in the emotions. The brand is in the emotions. So if let's say 20% of the 2,000 promote you well, that is 20%. Now, the other 80% are still with you, but they are happy or not happy. Okay? So, this entire journey, a brand strategist has to understand, how do I get in the heart and mind of a customer from the awareness point of view? How do I reach? Then the next thing, how do I build consideration? Then how do I build a good purchase experience? How do I then keep retaining him? Before he even asks for something, I am checking on him.
Yes.
You know? Then how do I even get him to defend me? And yes. So now, once the point of purchase happens, that is the first time money comes to the organization. That is when finance is money. But remember, finance gave you money at the time you ran the campaign.
Yes.
At awareness.
They are now asking you return on investment. That, okay, we put 100 million in this campaign. How much did we get? So if you say I only stop at awareness and the money, and
you don't follow the rest of
to justify to finance, good luck next year coming back to justify. The reason why people don't do that engagement is, one, especially most marketers, is they don't know that their chances are that the strategy they run, the campaign they run, may have actually worked, but they don't know because they have not measured all these elements to see how it translates. Sometimes they don't know it may have actually worked, and sometimes it may have failed, but they have not justified clearly to the finance department how much money was made.
And what are the learnings?
And what are the learnings? So when you build as a brand in the heart and mind of a customer, and you continuously retain that position, the emotion. Now let me tell you what happens the next time you get budget to justify a new campaign, especially when you got your brand strategy right. Remember the advocates told their friends that, man, being with this brand, being with this organization is on point. I can vouch for these guys.
Yes.
The new customers you get
Skips.
We'll skip this stuff and just straight.
The first time you're spending money to convince, the next time this guy will go straight from
awareness
to advocacy. Now let's do some finance here to show you why finance loves this and why a marketer should. Let's assume that, Daniel, I put 100 million to target 1 million customers. 100 million and I got 100 million customers. The acquisition cost per customer in this calculation is 100 shillings. 100 million for 1 million customers. But let's say that each customer gave a positive word of mouth because the brand experience is good. Assume each one brought someone. For the same 100 million, I'm getting 2 million customers. My cost of acquisition has dropped from 100 shillings to 50. When you show that to finance, and remember finance, when we mention strategies about managing the cost, when they see a cost dropping, finance loves cost reduction.
While the revenue is still the same or growing.
You see, so as a brand strategist, you need to show how your metrics for performance have contributed to finance. The journey just doesn't start with and end with awareness. It starts from awareness to advocacy.
And we repeat.
And repeat. The journey continues. And why the journey continues is situations change.
Yes.
Your competitor is not sleeping. Your competitor has benchmarked you. And also, when you're building your strategy and you're winning the hearts and minds of customers, at the time when you are segmenting them, most times people segment age, demographic, economic level, income earnings, and also geographical, north-south region and Kampala, whatever it is, or whatever country you're in.
Yeah.
The psychographic. The psychographic is more of
the mind of the customer.
What is a typical day for this person in their minds?
And where can our brand
fit into that piece of the puzzle, such that the customer not only looks at the brand as just meeting a need, a functional need in their life, but an emotional need. For example, people say, how many relationships have come from Netflix and chill? How many relationships have come from inviting someone to watch Netflix? How many relationships have come from having a beer with someone? How many relationships have started with just small experiences?
slide into the DM?
Slide into DM. Because the brand is no longer just something I'm paying money to, but the brand actually is like a person to me.
Yes.
A friend. Because all brands try to be like a friend.
Yes.
That I care for you. I am inspiring you to be, to grow,
To be whoever it is.
to be whoever it is. You know? For example, when a team loses on Saturday, what happens on Monday?
People are hardcore. People don't want to talk. They don't want to listen.
We have a lot of fans who support the Premier League. And the team is there. You can't control from this side the emotion. You even shout at the... That is an emotional connection. It's not a sports connection. It's this team is part and parcel of you. If we're talking Manchester, Arsenal as a brand, as an example, you see. So that is very, very important. You know, it's very, very important that the strategist has to keep changing what they want, because your mind will change. Let's see some of the things that can change the mind of a customer. Events. The pandemic changed what was important.
Yes.
We didn't know oxygen would become
That important.
As simple as
We
that.
didn't know buying a car before that.
Thank
Come
you.
in hand.
Thank you. Thank you. If you're a brand that said, don't worry, you're at home. I know you used to come to my shop. I am coming to deliver to you. That brand, that customer looks at you as a friend. Okay? He looks at you as a friend. If you were still at home, but you can't even pay because you've lost your job, but the brand say, don't worry, we know you've lost your job, but we still care about you. We are willing to give you on credit. The best landlords were those who allowed their tenants to even stay without
paying the rent. Yeah.
It goes to the mind. That's what a brand does. You stop seeing it as a business relationship, but an emotional connection. Yeah.
Okay. What a way to unpack brand awareness. I hope all this is helping someone out there.
Yeah.
You agency chap over there who's making a plan for, huh? Yeah, that's what. Hope you know. Okay. Now we've talked about awareness, brand awareness, about branders, but we've also mentioned that branding is expensive.
Yes.
It ain't cheap.
Yes.
It ain't cheap. So how do I ensure that there's a return on investment for this very expensive expenditure that is branding?
Okay. I wouldn't. Yes.
You could also mention any red flags if there are any.
Red flags.
What things show you that your branding is going in the opposite direction?
Okay. I'm going to approach this from the financial point of view, because the word expensive. I think the first level of expense in terms of the cost is too high. Is not the financial aspect, but the understanding of a finance person as to how you're going to spend that money and justify it in his books for him to release budget
for that.
with you.
Yeah.
Most times, a marketer is going to be obsessed with marketing.
Yes.
But you need to make the finance person your best friend. So let's unpack what finance people do. What happens in the finance department? We've already mentioned that the financial strategy is to improve the position of the company from point A to point B, increase profitability, while meeting day-to-day obligations of cash in, cash out. If you don't have cash flow, if you don't have money to spend on day-to-day operations, if you can't pay salaries, if you can't pay suppliers, if you can't pay tax obligations to
URA,
How would we rebrand?
thank you. Why would even we exist in an organization? As why would we even exist? And also meet the shareholder needs, but also managing risk. Because this is the department that tracks the tone of the organization. They are the department that says we are in trouble or we are doing well. At the end of the day, everything we do, if this department says we are not okay, you have to go back to the drawing board. Yes, there's a problem. Okay. They manage risk. That if I have, let's say this 100 million, where do I put it? Do I put it in marketing? Do I put it in retail to expand the retail? Do I put it in cheaper suppliers to get cheaper materials? Do I put it in in people, recruiting more people? Do I put it in legal fees and all to lobby government? Okay? Finance's job is to track all these elements and to guide in the decision making of the best way to put money to get return. So what does finance track? Let's go with the 3 documents they typically track. There's the balance sheet. The balance sheet has assets and liabilities and shareholder equity, The assets are those things that you use to make money. The fixed and current. Current are what you can translate into money very easily. Fixed are a bit long term. Then the liabilities, what they owe. Could be the debts, could be obligations to pay and all, and the shareholder interest. Then they also have the income statement. That is just shows the performance.
Yes.
That we made this amount of money, remove cost of goods sold, which also had the acquisition cost on marketing. Remove those elements and then you end up with the gross profit. Then there are those administrative costs like salaries, rent, power, and all those other things, and then also some other items, and then you come back to the net profit. Let's stop there. Then cash flow, where money in, money out.
Yes.
Finance people, good finance people, by the way, follow that to the dot. The accounting, the commercial controllers, the financial controllers, the CFO, the accountant, they follow it to the dot. Now, they need to justify this spend. And the strategic framework for finance people is the budget. We are budgeting. We are going to put 10% in production, 20% in marketing, 60% in retail expansion, maybe 40% in license renewals and all. Now, everyone has to justify budgets. Now, Mr. Marketer, you come. Now, we've seen what the finance people do.
Yes.
Mr. Marketer comes saying,
Your budget.
I want to build my brand. Now, the challenge is, in financial fundamentals, they report things that are tangible, that can be touched and felt. And they report things that they can control, within their control. A brand is not owned by the company. The brand is owned in the mind.
The mind of the consumer.
So you see, to a finance person,
I can't control it. I can't hold it.
It's an asset. Your brand is an asset in the mind of the customer for you, but it is not within the control of the organization.
They can't control it. They can't hold it. They can't. They can't create it. Like, you can't close it. You can't guarantee it.
Thank you very much. You can't guarantee, because those are emotions. How are you going to put emotions in an Excel sheet to a finance person? Okay?
Yeah.
So, what we call being expensive first is the buy-in for finance department to believe what you as the marketing and brand strategist are trying to achieve by saying, Mr. Finance, I need 10% of this budget for my brand strategy this year. Because the first question the finance people will say, what is the return? But going back to question 2, if you only say, I want to build awareness, and they say, where's the return?
And you don't have anything to back the awareness.
That journey.
Actually, you've just stopped there.
You've stopped there. What
Where
is
the
the
awareness is relative.
You see now, the finance person speaks numbers and ratios. Remember, as you are trying to justify to him, he's looking, he's saying, our debt to equity ratio has gone up.
Yes.
We have a tax obligation. The tax regulations have changed. Before we were paying 20% as aggregate taxes to government, and that government, they are on form right now. Now, IFRS has a good example.
Now it has gone up.
It is going up. Okay? On top of that, the currency fluctuations. So, if you now are a big multinational who trades in dollars, currency fluctuations have devalued, meaning that even if you're doing well in UGX, but on dollar to your bank,
it is miserable.
They are scratching their heads, okay. Cost of materials has even gone up. And you, Mr. Marketer.
Suppliers are few, and now they can increase the price, the premium, because their brands are strong.
Then Mr. Marketer comes with brand
awareness, which can't quantify on the numbers.
Yes.
So the first expense is, is your thinking aligned? You need to convince.
Yes.
So what does Mr. Marketer have to do? And what Mr. Marketer has to do is tell a story. Remember, we no longer do advertising, we tell stories.
Yes.
The way you tell a story to your customer is the same way you tell a brand story to a finance person. Explain that journey from how you're going to convert awareness to retention. Saying that by the time we've retained X amount and you multiply by the price times the number of purchases, this is the revenue we are going to get.
Project.
And because of the way I am going to position my brand,
We can get more still on the money spent.
the word of mouth is going to grow by 20%, meaning our acquisition cost is going to reduce.
Because we have a referral model.
We have a referral model, we have an advocacy model, the share of wallet is going to increase, and my metrics, the 10%, the 20% from awareness right to advocacy will improve from 30% to maybe 60%. This is how the revenue projection is going to be. And then this will be the costs and then the margin. When the finance person gets that buy-in, not only will you now be in the wallet of the finance department, but you'll be in their heart.
They will advocate.
They'll advocate for you, actually. The finance person will be like, guys, this marketing budget, you want to hit your target?
Yes. So, for the audience there, and you're a marketer, the best friend you should have is the finance person. Don't look at those guys as enemies. They are your best friend. There are questions marketers don't like to ask finance people, and one of them is, what is my current contribution
To the
pot?
What's my current contribution to the pot? They fear the answer. Sometimes they don't know that it could actually be 90, but they didn't check.
But they didn't check, or they didn't track along the way.
They didn't track along the way. Then sometimes they'll say, your contribution from the brand activity is only 5%. Then you begin a collaboration, because how do you align the brand strategy, the marketing strategy to the finance strategy?
Yeah.
So that you speak the same language. And you speak and synchronize. And synchronize together. So you build collaboration. And one thing we've also left out is culture. They say culture eats strategy
for breakfast.
So now, if the customer is attached to your brand and vouches for your brand, you're more or less having the same shared culture, shared belief.
Yes.
Now, from the internal marketing point of view, as Mr. Market and brand strategist, have a shared culture and shared belief with the finance.
So that you still deliver.
Mirror. Yes. Still deliver. Have a shared belief and culture. Whereby the next planning cycles you have, Mr. Finance has you on top of mind. We like top of mind on the awareness side. But when Mr. Finance is doing budgeting, top of mind is, I want to sit with marketing first.
Yes.
Because I understand how they are going to make money.
They need my help.
Yes.
We need discounts on certain products.
So once you've broken the first barrier of thinking and alignment, then the next stage is, how much is it going to cost? Then you go into the breakdown. Let me tell you, don't look at things from it's expensive relative to what.
That's a very valid point. So it's not just expensive. Expensive according to who, as compared to
relative
what?
To what? What are you benchmarking on? If let's say in the same industry, and if you're fortunate enough, if let's say figures are published publicly, and you see the budget your competitor is working with, but even 20% of his budget is what you're planning to use, and it is expensive, yet you're only planning 20% of what your competitor is going to spend. It's not expensive.
And yet expecting the same result.
Expecting the same result. Then expensive, when something is expensive, there's definitely the expectation that it is going to have long-term continuous benefits.
Yes.
If Netflix is willing to spend a certain amount of money, and they know that they are willing to increase on content because they have seen the lifetime value is going to. Lifetime value, by the way, helps with what long-term investing for finance is. Let's go back to that same thing. Benz ran a campaign for adverts. You saw people driving Benzes. You had Benzes being talked about as kids. But one day you will buy. But they began advertising to you for a very long time. So a long-term plan. I know definitely for finance, there are financial cycles. Money needs to be accounted for. Interest rates on loans need to be paid for. But if you convince them that not only will this benefit us for this financial year, but we will even start to see the benefits in year 2, year 3, year 4.
They will have it.
Okay.
So what are some of the red flags? What are some of the red flags that you might notice while you are? What do you think about return on investment?
Yes. Some of the red flags from experience and also industry reports have shown, and even when you engage with different marketers and strategists, red flags is having an inconsistent brand strategy. You think that what you did in 2021
is going to work in 2024.
Yeah, you did something nice in 2021 and 22, 23, 24, you've not done it, or you've reduced the spend on it, and you assume 2026.
So meaning, make it sad.
The so-called steady progress. That we will continue to progress. That's a red flag because user perceptions of brands change. Brands even go through moments when they refresh. They can even change the logo. They can change the promise, the tagline. Then also you have to make sure that the experience, that what you're promising is actually what's happening on ground. If you say we deliver within an hour, that
it better be an hour.
So one thing is you have to stay consistent in what you promise.
And that means then you also have to have contingencies. Because most times I think as we are doing these things, we usually think it will go our way.
Correct. Yes. I can imagine an organization that had just invested in retail branches, then we went into the pandemic. No one saw it coming, and unfortunately the shops will be empty. Yes. And you're in losses. So have contingency planning. So one red flag is not being consistent. There's another red flag. This one, I don't know. Maybe after this session, I may get beaten up. Ego. You see, if you are, when your brand is successful, even you, the strategist, feel happy. But if you get high on your own stuff and think, I can't fail, I can't listen to the audience, you lose sight of the audience. Yes. You assume that the audience is resonating with you. Sometimes you may get a rude awakening. Separate what you think is best for your customer in terms of your brand and continue to put them first and continue to get their powers. Okay? Yeah. The best example, because as a brand, you're positioned like a human, as a friend to the customer. the customer is saying, I'm advocating to you. Don't take the customer for granted. It's like having that friend you've known for years. Your long friends you've known for years. When your friend says, but Chief, you need to go to the gym and work out. Sorry, I'm not hitting out at it. Oh, friend, Chief, you need to do this. That person has known you for a long time. Don't take them for granted and think, no, I know what's best. Listen to what they say. And also listen to the finance people and work with them and other departments. So remove ego out of the strategy.
Yes.
Leave the ego at the doorway. When you're in the boardroom planning the strategy and implementing it and changing it and even being criticized, and you learn those aspects. Follow the ego. The other one, which comes from the finance side. Usually with finance, the way budgeting is done, there are two ways of budgeting, okay, that inform budgeting. There is what they call zero-based budgeting, starting from zero, and then you have to justify each item. Okay? Now, most marketers will fall into the trap, assuming you're consistent, but most marketers fall in the trap saying, according to my last budget, for example, last year I had 10% on digital, 20% on, let's say, posters, and that is retail. Then 50% is on outdoor branding, and then maybe the balance went to sponsorship. That ratio, you maintain it as it is. So the next year you come to budget, and you don't want to go through the hassle of building from scratch. You just get the same ratios. Maybe this year you are given 100 million. You go with the same ratios. Now they have added you to 200 million. You get the same percentages,
Carry them over
to the next year's budget. And others where you maintain the same ratios to the finance person, saying this is how I'm going to split my budget. And yet, you have forgotten to go back to the market to understand what that the drivers of my brand, whether it was digital or whether it was retail or whether it was sponsorship or whether it was something else, have those ratios changed? So let's say I'm the brand strategist. Daniel, you're a customer. You have related to my brand because you walked to a shop that I ran. And you had a very wonderful experience and you are happy. So I assume, let me put the money in retail. But now times have changed. Then Daniel, you had no phone. Now you have a smartphone. And you're now interacting with my brand in year 2 online.
Yes.
I've not factored in the consumer changes and preferences and what's influencing their minds. And I use the same budget split.
Scale.
That's a red flag. Copy paste. I've not gone back to carefully evaluate. I've also not considered that, okay, last year I went head on with my competitor in retail spend, but my competitor has pulled out of retail. He has maybe gone the digital route.
And you've not bothered to find out why.
And I put the same allocation and things come out not so well. I may get results, but the ROIs are not as much because I didn't re-optimize it with the market. So what that is going to do is my performance may not be good. And if I continue copy paste, there is a chance I'm now wasting money. That's waste. And finance's job is to track waste. If you don't even submit a report on your ROI, they'll just say that is waste. Even if they see the cash flows coming in, even if they see the revenue coming in, even if they see the subscribers coming in, but you're not explaining how they arrived at that. In their books, it is waste. So you will be a 100 million budget, 200, 300, then the next day they're like, we're giving you 80. You wonder why? Because you didn't go back to the market to continue to know
how is it?
Have things changed? How have they changed?
Yes, how do I reshape my strategy? How do I change? And how do I optimize it? So those are some of the red flags. The other most obvious red flag is failing to understand finance as a marketer. The continued refusal to work, the continued mindset perception that they are the hardest people to work
for me, I do marketing and marketing only.
Yes.
And actually, I think actually, like what you've said, we carry over.
Yes.
You work under someone, who just fights with finance for the sake of fighting with them.
And therefore you pick it up
You
and you're
pick
like,
it.
I think this is the norm.
Yeah.
If you sit with anyone who has even done CPA, SCCA, financial management, or anything, you will never see the word feelings and emotions in the course content for finance. It's just numbers. And numbers don't lie. There are no emotions there. It's just numbers. And remember, finance, think of finance like the blood flow of the body. If you don't have blood flow, what happens? The body. So, become fluent in finance. So, apart from red flags, there are solutions. So, as a marketer, what do? Learn your metrics and how they translate into finance. In the finance department, they track two things. They track financials, but they also track what they call non-financial KPIs. The customer base, the number of times you've purchased, your usage. For example, if you're a soda company, how many sodas did one person drink in a month? Then multiply times the price. That's when you get financial. So learn how your non-financials as a brand or marketing person translate into finance. Then go the extra mile. Learn finance as a course.
marketer.
As a course. Become fluent in financial literature. Speak the financial language when you work with finance. Then speak the marketing language with
With the marketers.
yes and all. So those are some of the red flags. The last red flag is synchronization. What do I mean by synchronization? Strategy is about coordination. Okay? If you say, I need to spend this money in January so that I realize something maybe in March. But you delay to plan well with finance and they release the money in March.
The season
has
gone.
Synchronization. Okay? You don't synchronize. And remember, even when you get the money, then you have to pay suppliers through supply chain to order. That also takes time. So if you don't synchronize with supply chain as well, by the time you get your budget, but the time has changed, there is a loss of time. So everything is fine, the plan is fine, but there is a lack of synchronization. Then you begin to firefight. So that's one of the red flags. So make sure that as a strategist in finance, in marketing, even as you have your budget for, let's say, 2024, a strategist starts to say, what is the outlook for 2025 like? How is 2026 going to be? How is 2027? Start thinking
now.
Start thinking long term.
In advance, so that you do your plan and then you have contingencies that in case this doesn't work. So those are some of the few things you can.
But I think for me the key takeaway is copy and paste.
Avoid copy and paste. Always go back. Always go back and check.
Yeah, it's easier to fall.
Being in the comfort zone, yes. They even say, can you send through your budgets? And then you
just get the same thing.
And then you submit.
You change the date.
You change the date, yes, and then you submit.
I feel like that's where. And for me, what I think something that with time as you do marketing and you're growing, where you get better at it is learning how to mark and map the impact. I think most times, especially when you come from agency, we are really top funnel. In our market, we are really top of the funnel. We really speak a lot of impressions, a lot of reach, a lot of the billboard on the highway. On the highway. We speak a lot. It's not bad. We are speaking a lot of activations in the malls. But then you ask the guy, okay, how many sales happen in the mall? None. But we paid
this much, we paid this retainer.
These girls to move around, what? No modem was sold, no download was done, no.
Exactly.
So, but then next financial year we still do the same thing because people are aware of the brand, but they're not.
I think that begs a new question, which I think we should plan a guest to talk about this. Is the role of creative agencies just awareness, or does it go deeper? And if it goes deeper, how deep?
The marriage has to really be.
I think we need a conversation.
Actually, speaking of, I had a session with creatives from a Gandhi studio, and we're giving them a crash course strategy, and we taught them how to triangulate. What do you mean to triangulate? Is, let's say you're the client. I am the creative. You are the customer of the client. Most times the creative is going to interact with him. He's giving the information to me. But for a creative to do the right type of design campaign and has to have element of strategic thinking is beyond just understanding the client's need through the brief that has been shared and the timeline. Let me understand
The customer
that the client
Is trying
to get.
Yes, because some of the concerns of a creative is money, continued retainer, continued payment,
Yes.
retaining clients. So I need to triangulate. Once I understand his need as a creative, I can then come up with the right campaign
mapping into my brief.
into your brief. So don't just be a creative who's obsessed with the editing tools and the video quality and all, but understand the client's needs through his own clientele needs. But also, let me also put it the other side. Creatives have the ability to come up with a representation of your brand in the hearts and minds of your customers. If you have, as the strategist, have gotten it right, and then you represent the brand in images, in sound, in audio, in picture, video, even physical, like the t-shirts and all, the branding and all, you have accomplished something. So for the company, pay the creatives. Don't sit on their money. Pay those guys. They also are human beings and have to earn. Pay the creatives for their value, as long as they have driven value to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, that's great. So I'm hoping that somewhere, someone out there in the universe has picked great learnings from this session. It's always interesting when Simon is with us. The amount of knowledge that drops is immense.
I think this season we have a lot of workbooks.
Hey, we're going to have plenty of workbooks for this one. So guys, look out for that. Look out for the workbook. Look out for the newsletter community. There's a link in the description. Tap that, join the community. You'll receive a newsletter at the end of every month, curated by yours truly. And besides that, like, subscribe, tell a friend.
Yep.
Be good and see you guys on the next one.
one.